All right, friends, welcome back. Today it's a little bit of a kind of a how-to. We're going to experiment. So I'm doing a coolant hose change, and the top one went without issue. You can see it's nice, brand new, high quality silicone. But unfortunately, I can't use Old Faithful right here on the lower one. And I'm going to show you why. This thing is like the factory pipe. It's got the spring inside of it from that's what they used to do, is put springs inside of those to prevent them from collapsing. So that's how I know this is the factory pipe on here. So as a result, in there is welded on, basically welded onto that part. And I pulled and pulled on it, can't get it. Got this side off, no issue, because I got my pliers on there. But what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to use this heat gun, trying to soften it up and pull it off. If that won't cut it, no pun intended, I'm going to grab my cutoff wheel. We will, by any means, get that thing off to put the new one on, because I'm not planning on reusing it. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. And basically, two trains of thought. So you can come in from the top side, remove your air blocks and your intercooler pipe to get to it, which is my contingency plan. But since my truck doesn't have fender liners right now, I'm using the base that I've got to see if I can make this work. This is what I'm talking about. This thing had two of these clamps on there, so it is very much welded on there. Cannot get a grip on that thing. Try to get my pliers in there, can't do it. So I tried to get a pick in there, couldn't do it. So let's try this heat gun, see what happens. I'm gonna put a little bit of heat on it, and then basically trying to take this pick. I was thinking about it. Even if I do remove the intercooler pipe, this is going to kind of be in the way for me to get pliers in there from this angle. So, like I said, I'm just going to try to get it from over here. So I'm just trying to take this hook. Hopefully y'all can kind of see. Get it back there. Just try to break this seal. This thing is crusty, I tell you. See if that did anything at all. Oh man, no. This thing ain't budging. I got my hopes up because as I was doing this, I could hear it breaking the seal. Sounded like rubber splitting basically. So I thought I was gonna make a breakthrough, but not quite yet. Sure, some of y'all experienced mechanics out there are like, oh man, I would have had this done 5 minutes ago. But I'm not a mechanic. I'm just trying to work with the tools I got. Okay, so after using the heat gun and trying my best to get my picks in there to wedge this thing out, it just ain't happening. Peace was never an option. So what we're gonna do, since like I said, I'm not reusing this, I'm just using this old work knife I got. It's just a kitchen knife from Walmart that I keep in the garage for these kind of things. I'm just gonna cut it. I just cut it right up to the bezel. Then I'm going to use a screwdriver and pry it off. So I'll know, I'll show y'all here in a minute, but maybe I'll see that there's that spring in there. That does make it a little bit harder because I keep catching it. So I'm trying to have to fillet this thing almost. Just get a box cutter. I'll be right back. Such limited workroom. I've said that a million times, but if you're gonna do this, this comes without saying, be very careful. That's going much better. Much better. We're making some progress now. Alright. Let me see if that's enough to pry on this thing. I know this ain't the best angle for y'all spectators, but trying here. Here we go. Here we go. The end is near. Let's give it a tug and see what happens. Oh my gosh. Yes. Whew. Golly. So, that's what did it. Look at this thing. Like I said, it's 20 years old. Woo-wee. What a task. Well, at least now we can put the nice new one on. This thing is going to the garbage bin. And like I said, it had 2 clamps on it for the past 20 years. And then that's a metal fitting that gets hot. So, no wonder it's welded to it. Right. Well, let's get that new one put in here. All right. So here is our nice shiny new one. High quality stuff right here. So here's the spring out of the old one. Got a little bit bent because as I was grabbing and wrenching on it with the channel locks earlier, it kind of bent it. But so from what I've read, this was something car manufacturers used to put in here for whenever they would fill these coolant systems from the factory. This would prevent the lower hose from collapsing in on itself. So everything I've read says this is optional. You can try to stuff this back in your new pipe and put it in here, but seeing as what I've read online, it said that this is an outdated practice. It's not necessary. I'm just gonna put this on there. I'm just gonna get this thing prepped, get my things cleaned up, and we'll slap this on there. Next step is to put some coolant in the old gal. It's just gonna go like this. Okay, yep. So let me get my little worm drives ready. They came with these. I know some people don't like these. I mean, my dad used these on everything he ever did. I've always used these. I never had any issues, but worst case, I'll look into something like I think Mishimoto makes a tension clamp. It provides like constant tension. It's supposed to be stainless steel. You know how Mishimoto is. They make some good stuff. So let me see here what we're going to do. We put this on the bottom and this to the side. Yeah, that'll work. That way, if I have to do this again, it will be much easier. So I'm gonna just use a tiny bit of this, just a tiny bit, to put on the interior of the lip right here, just to help it go on a little easier. Like I said, just a tiny bit, because I don't want this stuff getting in my cooling system. Show you what I'm talking about. I'm talking just the tiniest amount to help it get started. It should seal to the pipe, not cause any issues right there. Just not putting a whole lot. That's the trick. Now we should be in business. Uh-huh. And yup, like butter. Not too bad. Just enough to get it on there. Sweet. That looks really good. It's nice and beefy construction. Now we're just gonna get these tightened up on there. This thing tightened up, and that'll be it. So thanks for coming along, filming. Learned a few things in the process. Didn't have to take my intake and intercooler pipe off, so that worked out. So, you know, like I said, you're just going to do this. If you're not going to reuse the pipe, don't be afraid to cut that thing. I mean, these pipes are cheap. Our time is not. So, once again, thanks for watching, and I will catch y'all on the next project.